Many students think that economics is all about big companies, big money, and profits. However, the real core of economics is about making rational and optimal decisions. So today, I'll be giving you an economist slash teacher's guide to making decisions regarding your future now that you've received your O-level results. As a long-time JC teacher, I've seen a wide range of different students, some who have thrived and some who have struggled. So together with my experience and that of some colleagues, I've compiled some decision-making tips to help you with the choices that lie ahead. The first big thing to think about is simply, do I go to JC or should I consider poly instead? There are three main questions that you need to ask yourself. The first being, are you a generalist or a specialist? If you have a burning interest in something that you really want to pursue as a career, then poly may be the route for you. But if, like many 16-year-olds, you are still figuring out what you like and what you don't like, then JC gives you the chance to delay that specialization and continue with a more generalist route. Choosing to specialize in something for 3 years only to realize that you don't want to pursue that path really incurs a heavy cost in terms of time. The next thing to consider is, do you want to have a national exam or be continuously assessed? Poly courses are usually assessed continuously, where you are graded on a per module basis and your academic performance is judged by your grade point average. A-levels, on the other hand, is heavily weighted towards just the national exam. There are some assessments along the way, but they have no bearing on your final academic grade. So you need to figure out if you like to be continuously lower stakes assessed, or if you prefer a big one-time national exam. The last thing to consider is, do you prefer a structured program or do you prefer to be more self-managed? Just as polytechnics are less strict about attire and other discipline aspects that you might encounter in JC, they also provide less hand-holding and guidance. Polytechnics treat you much more like a young adult, while the JC system still offers that structured and scheduled system with teachers that will follow up with you if you are struggling. So you need to figure out if you are an independent self-managed learner or you feel like you would benefit from a more closely guided system. If the previous slide has convinced you to go to a poly course, then you can stop the video here. But if you have decided to go to the JC route, the next question to ask yourself is, which JC? If your L1 R5 score gives you many options, here are 3 criteria you can use to choose between them. The first criteria will be the distance you need to travel to get to school. Not only does this incur an explicit cost such as bus, MRT, and cab fare, more importantly, it incurs something economists like to call opportunity cost. Opportunity cost involves the next best alternative you give up when you make a choice. So choosing to go to a school far away means that you're going to leave for school very early and reach home quite late, especially on days with CCAs. This then incurs a heavy opportunity cost as you have less time to do homework or less time to rest to prepare for the next school day. Some students make the mistake of underestimating how heavy this opportunity cost can be, thinking that they'll just study on the bus or on the MRT. However, being inadequately rested or unprepared for tutorials can really hurt your performance in school. I personally taught a student who retained in J1 and decided to transfer to another JC closer to home and significantly improve their academic performance as a result. Another thing to consider is the college culture and environment. If the school's vibe aligns well with yours, you are going to enjoy coming to school and going to be in a better mood. Conversely, if you find yourself feeling out of place, you may end up performing poorly as a result. Another thing to consider is that sometimes a vibrant college life may look very attractive, but can also be a big distraction if you're unable to manage your time well. Lastly, the physical and social environment is also important. If the college looks run down and feels dreary, you may dread coming to school. So do your research well also about school-specific policies such as dress-down days or home-based learning days. So knowing what to expect during your time in that college is key. Finally, you should do some thorough research on the CCAs, subjects, and programs offered by the college. While CCAs may not heavily impact your university admissions, for many students, it is where they form the closest bonds and have the fondest memories during JC. So finding a college that offers you something that you can be passionate about can be very important. The subject combinations offered by the schools is also important to research. For example, not all schools offer computing as an A-level subject, so if you're aspiring to be the next tech whiz, then look out for that. Additionally, many of these special programs may have prerequisites or aptitude selection tests, so while this may be your interest, do not assume that you will be allowed to study that subject. Finally, some schools have special programs, such as the Humanities Scholars Program or other enrichment programs. These programs not only allow you to develop yourself holistically, but often offer chances to gain experiences like overseas trips or organizing student-initiated projects that help you craft more meaningful personal statements for university admissions. So while considering these three criteria, one key takeaway is that you really must be self-aware, truthful, and realistic with yourself. What may be a negative point to one student could be a strong pull factor for another. For instance, some schools are known for having a mugging culture. While this may turn some students off, it may also be beneficial to some who prefer to be surrounded by other students who are serious about studying. So knowing yourself well and being honest with yourself is key in applying this criteria to your choice. With that said, here's wishing you all the best in your JEE applications and a bright future ahead. Do stay tuned for an upcoming video giving you some pointers on choosing your JC subject combination, specifically whether you should study economics.